Good morning, it's Saturday and we are going to start prepping and getting more things ready for Easter. Let me go over what we are going to be making. I have my list of stuff. We are going to boil eggs for deviled eggs. I will be making finishing that recipe up tomorrow because I like my deviled eggs fresh. We are going to make homemade rolls today. We're going to be making green beans. They're really good and tasty. I'm going to do the scalloped cheesy potatoes. I'm going to bake those as well today and then just reheat them tomorrow in the oven. We're going to do fruit dish. It's really easy and simple, but really tasty. My littlest is out there. We're going to finish doing the cakes, so we're going to make a simple syrup. We're going to ice it. We're going to put the berries on. We're going to make it really nice and pretty. And we're going to do the spinach stuffed shells. I'm going to boil the shells, stuff the shells, get it prepped and ready, and then tomorrow I will bake it in the oven. And then we'll do the ham tomorrow in the oven as well. And I believe that is all that's on my list that we are going to be in the kitchen making. So, all right, let's go ahead and jump on in. Let's go ahead and start making the rolls for Easter. Got my apron on and I'm ready to go. I've got my KitchenAid all set up. Got my dough hook that I'm going to be using. Alright, so we need 1.5 cups of milk, and we're going to go ahead and zap it in the microwave because we want it to be about 110 degrees. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in for a minute. My milk just got done out of the microwave, so let's check out the temperature. Using a digital thermometer. I'm going to go ahead and zap it for a few more seconds. Alright, I zapped it for 13 more seconds. Perfect, and we are at 110 degrees. That's perfect. So a minute and 13 seconds is good for 110 degrees. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pour our warm milk into the mixer. And then I have a bowl of sugar, and I have a 1/3 cup in here. We are going to use a tablespoon of it from that 1/3 cup. And we're going to go ahead and mix this into it. And now we're going to set this aside to use for later. So now we're going to take 1 tablespoon of active dry yeast. And we're going to sprinkle it on top. And we're going to let it sit for a minute. So I'm just sprinkling it on the top. And we'll let that sit for 1 minute. It is up, and now I'm going to go ahead and whisk it, and then we're going to let it sit for 5 minutes until it looks foamy. Just going to mix all this in together. My littlest is having some breakfast in the kitchen while I'm doing this. Alright, so I'm going to set the timer for 5 minutes. And it's going to then start to get foamy. As you can see, it's nice and foamy. I'm going to go ahead and melt 4 tablespoons of butter and add that. Alright, my butter is melted. That's 4 tablespoons of melted butter. Going to add in the remainder of the sugar that we took the tablespoon from. So adding the rest of that. And then I'm going to add 1 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And I go ahead and whisk that up. Now we're going to start incorporating our flour. And we need 4 cups of flour, but I'm going to slowly add it. So we're going to add 1 cup. Ooh, that went everywhere. Let me get a knife real fast. I like taking a knife and scraping the back, using the back side to get a perfect cup of flour. All right, so 1 cup. Go ahead and turn this on, lock it in place. I have it on setting number 2. Hi. I'm going to go ahead and add my second cup of flour. To get my third cup of flour ready. Adding my third cup of flour. Adding my fourth cup of flour. Okay, so while that is mixing, I'm going to go ahead and get my oven set. I like to let my dough rise in my oven, and in order to do that, I like to turn my oven on to 200, and then once it's preheated to 200, I turn it off. So let's go ahead and do that. And then that way it can double in size in there, and I'll show you how I do that. Let's go ahead and check our dough. It should feel sticky to the finger, but not stick to the finger. And it is perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to oil my bowl, and then we're going to put it in the dough into the bowl. I'm going to pour about a tablespoon in here. Maybe a little less than a tablespoon. And then I'm just going to roll the oil around in the bowl.
You can use a food brush as well instead of rolling the oil in the bowl.
Okay, it looks really good, nicely oiled. I'm going to take the dough and I'm going to put it into the bowl. And my oven is finally preheated, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my dough in my oiled bowl. It is nicely oiled up. Hi. And I'm actually going to just add a little to my hands to make it easily to come off the hook. Hi. Hi. In just a second, I'm going to hold you and snuggle you, okay? Yeah.
Here's my dough. I'm going to go ahead and cover it with plastic wrap and then put it in my warm oven and let it rise for 2 hours. I'm going to set the dough in the warm oven and set the timer for 2 hours.
All right, my parchment paper's out. I'm going to put some flour down. So spread it around. And I'm going to pull my bread out of the oven. You can hear the kids laughing back there. Oh, it looks beautiful. Let me show you. It definitely doubled. It's been in the oven for 2 hours. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and dump it out onto my floured surface. Look at that. Look how beautiful. All right, so now I'm going to just roll it in the flour mixture. And this is a wheat bread recipe that I am doing. It's not gluten-free. Okay, I am going to cut it into 3 sections. Use a pizza wheel to just kind of... Alright, so cutting it into 3 sections. I need like one of those dough cutters. But this works out for the time being. Alright, so now I have my 3 sections. And now I'm going to cut them into sections of 5s. All right, so now I am going to take each individual one and roll them. And then place them in there.
I did take olive oil and greased the 9x13 dish with it and brushed it all around on the bottom and each side so that way the rolls would not stick to it.
These are a big hit in my house. Everyone loves them. I wish I could eat them. They smell really good. I'm gonna wash my hands.
I love using the parchment paper on the countertop when I use flour on it. That way it's easy cleanup.
All right, gonna cover with saran wrap again, and it's gonna go back in the oven to keep it warm for another 30 to 60 minutes until it rises again. All right, so going back in the oven, we do not want to overproof them, so just keep an eye on them to make sure that they have doubled in size again. So I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. That way then I'll check on them. And I'm going to clean up my surface so that there's no more wheat everywhere since I'm gluten-free. And then I'm going to start on some other stuff. Right, so while that is proofing in the oven before we bake the rolls, I'm going to go ahead and start getting the deviled eggs ready. I'm not going to do the filling and all that today. I'm going to do that tomorrow. So I need to boil my eggs and just get them ready. So I pulled out my egg dish trays. I love this one. My mother-in-law got me this one. It was a gift when my husband and I got married, so I'm really excited to use this one. So there are, this one holds 18. And then I have another one that my sister-in-law gave me, and this one holds 12. So I can have a total of 30 deviled eggs. So I need 15 eggs. So let's go ahead and get those out. Now I have 15 eggs in there. I'm going to throw in a few extra just in case.
It's always good to have extras because I know once I make them, everyone wants to have one.
So every 4 cups gets 1 tablespoon of white vinegar, and it should help to easily remove the shells from the eggs. I am trying something new. I did some research on it to find something that could help with that. Let me go help my little one first. All right, so I did 8 cups of water. I need 2 tablespoons of white vinegar. And I'm going to go ahead and turn this to boil. All right, so it's going to start heating up, and while that's doing that, I'm going to start on another project. My eggs are still getting to a boil. I now have my pot of water, so I'm going to turn that on to high, and this one I am going to be making the jumbo shells. I'm going to get the water hot and then dump in the jumbo shells. All right, so let's just wait until that is hot. I'll pour the shells in, and we are at 15 minutes. Still waiting on the bread in the oven for it to double in size. Now that the water is boiling, I'm going to put the lid on top, and I'm going to turn it off, and I'm going to set the timer for 15 minutes, and once the timer's up, I'm going to drain the water. Alright, so the kids are out in the back patio. They're decorating with chalk for the Easter Bunny. My youngest is watching them through the door. We're letting some natural air get in the house, and my timer just went off, so it is time to get my jumbo shells in the boiling water and also drain the water from my deviled eggs. And also, I need to start the oven to preheat it to put my rolls and bacon. So let's get going. We got lots to do. Yeah?
I'm doing an Austin course out here.
Really?
Yeah.
My eggs are now drained.
I'm going to go ahead and pull my rolls out of the oven. They look nice. They definitely rose. I'm going to set the oven to 375. Let it preheat, and then once it's preheated, I'm going to go ahead and put those in there. Go ahead and take each egg and put it into a bowl to let it cool down. They are definitely hot. I'm using tongs, that way I can go ahead and just easily get them removed from the pot so I have more counter space. It's definitely interesting when you have a small kitchen and how to juggle everything that you need to get done. Yes, hon? Oh, it's a chalk that's the shape of an egg. Made me a pretty picture. Yeah, so they're outside decorating on the patio for the Easter Bunny with some chalk. It's a nice day outside. Oh, you're making an obstacle course? He's making an obstacle course. Earlier we dyed Easter eggs. That was a lot of fun. Alright, so those are all out now. Water is boiling. I'm going to give it a stir. I like that this pot has a strainer in it, which will be very convenient for these jumbo shells. So it's perfect. How nice these rose. They look so beautiful. They're not like shaped like as perfect as I'd like them, but they're still going to taste phenomenal from what I hear other people saying, because obviously I can't eat them because they're wheat and I am gluten free. So the oven is still preheating, and once it's preheated, I'll stick it in the oven at 375 for 23 to 25 minutes. It's so cute. They're out there finding wish flowers and making wishes and decorating for the Easter Bunny with chalk, and my middle son is making an obstacle course. So it is a gorgeous day outside right now. I'm really glad that we're having some nice weather. Let me check on the oven. Still preheating. The oven is finally preheated, so 375. Rolls are going in for 23 to 25 minutes. I'm going to set my timer. I'm going to do 23 minutes so that I can check it then and see if it needs an additional 2 minutes. My shells are still cooking and the eggs are cooling. And my daughter is decorating the broccoli onion area with a little gnome fairy garden stuff that we have out the back. So it's really cute. All right, so I'm gonna check on this in a bit. All right, I'm gonna check on the shells. They are done. So I'm gonna go ahead and drain those. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pour it into my glass bowl so they can cool down. Ooh. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start on my Greek green beans and also getting the stuff ready for the spinach and ricotta stuffed shells.
The Greek green beans, I need 4 cloves of garlic, and for the stuffed shells, I need 2 teaspoons of garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and cut up all 6 cloves that I pulled out for that.
And the rolls are almost done. There's a good 4 minutes and 50 seconds left on them, so we'll be checking them shortly. Kids are still outside enjoying the nice weather today. It is just gorgeous out there. My youngest is still watching them from the door. He just loves it. And then here in a bit, I will be making lunch for everyone. That looks perfect. All right, so I have 2 minutes left on my oven for the bread. I'm gonna go actually take it out and check on it because I don't want to burn the tops. Oh, they look perfect. I'm actually gonna take it out, and that makes it at 21 minutes. Okay, I have a really old-fashioned oven, so I always like to just make sure like nothing is overcooking. So let's see how they look. They look really good. All right, so now we're gonna brush the tops with butter. All right, so we need 1 tablespoon of melted butter. All right, so I have my butter melted, and I'm gonna go ahead and just brush it on top of the dinner rolls. All right, so I got everyone some lunch. My youngest is down for a nap. He got avocado all over me, so I need a new apron. And I was able to do some laundry real fast, and I got some shorts on finally. Earlier, you might have seen me in some comfy pajama pants because I was doing laundry too this morning and just trying to get things done before I have family in town and family over tomorrow. So let's go ahead and start getting back to cooking, and let's go ahead and get we're going to start with the Greek green beans. All right, so I'm going to turn the stove on to like a medium low. Pouring in some olive oil. Maybe a good tablespoon. And I'm going to use about 4 cloves of garlic that I minced up earlier. Just go ahead and put it in there. Now I don't want to like overcook the garlic. I just want to kind of give it a little bit on the stove. It smells so good. Okay, wash my hands again. I'm just going to let this sit for a few minutes. Okay, so the garlic is still cooking on medium low. I'm not trying to brown it or anything. I just want to cook it a little bit to get that olive oil to be like a nice garlic infused flavor. So that's cooking right now. And so in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and chop up 4 cups of spinach for our stuffed shells. Give this a little stir.
I'm just going to chop the spinach up. You don't want to mince it.
All right, now that it's getting a little bit hotter, I'm going to go ahead and dump in, I'm using petite diced tomatoes and tomato juice, and so we're going to go ahead and add those into our pot. All right, now we're going to go ahead and give this a stir.
Now you're going to add half a tablespoon of oregano.
All right, now that we have our oregano added in, we are going to go ahead and stir it into the diced tomatoes. And I'm going to turn this to medium, and we're just going to let this cook for a while until the garlic is soft. Continue chopping up some spinach because we need 4 cups of it. And we want to pack it in the measuring cup. All right, now that we have 4 cups of chopped spinach, and I packed it in as tightly as I could, so let's go ahead and get this going. Give my Greek green beans, diced tomatoes a little stir. It's smelling really good. All right, so I'm going to turn this pan onto medium high, and I'm going to go ahead and pour some olive oil in. And I'm going to let that get warm, and then I'm going to add, I'm going to let it get hot, and then I'm going to add the garlic in. And while I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm going to clean up a little bit. So I'm going to turn this one down to a little bit lower because it's getting a little bit, it's boiling a little bit more than I want it to. So we're going to turn it down to medium-low. Because what you want is you really want the garlic to cook into the tomato flavor and basically soften the garlic. And then towards the end, you'll throw in the green beans and cook those with it. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add our garlic to our larger pan. And I have about 2 tablespoons, I have about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic that we are using. And we want to cook these for about 1 minute to 2 minutes. I love the smell of garlic. So good. Okay, now that they're starting to brown, I'm going to go ahead and add in the spinach. I'm going to turn it down to low. Basically, I just want these spinach leaves to wilt. I don't want to overcook them. I still wanted a nice bright green color. So we're going to constantly stir it. See how they really reduced down, and that was 4 cups of packed spinach. Alright, these look beautiful, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off because this is already done now. Done, I'm going to go ahead and move them on the other side so that way they can cool down. Remove it from the heat. I'm going to give my Greek green beans a stir. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and add my green beans. I am using French style green beans. And I drained the water. Now the garlic will still continue to cook and soften over time.
I am using 2 cans of French style green beans.
And now I'm just going to go ahead and stir that in. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and turn it to low, and I'm going to cover it with the lid and just let it cook on low for a while. That way all the flavors get blended nicely with the garlic and the oregano and the tomatoes. Okay, so we are going to start making the stuff we are going to stuff the shells with. So we need 12 ounces of ricotta cheese. This one is 15 ounces. I'm just going to go ahead and add the entire thing into it because what am I going to do with the extra 3 ounces another time? So we're just going to add the entire thing to it. And this is 15 ounces that I am adding. And that came out nicely. Okay, so now we are going to need 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. Half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now you can get a block of cheese and shred it yourself. I just got mine that was already just the shredded shaker kind. Okay, so now we are going to need 1 egg. You know me, I'm going to save that egg for my garden. I'm just going to set it here and put it in the stash later that I have collected in the freezer. Okay, now we need, let me wash my hands first. Can use fresh basil for this. I am just going to use dried basil, so I need 1 tablespoon of it. I got mine from Costco. I really like Costco's herbs. All right, so one tablespoon of basil. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all in first before I add my spinach and garlic mixture to this. And we also need some salt. We need about 1 teaspoon of salt. All right, so let's go ahead and mix this all together. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my spinach mixture. All right, I'm going to go ahead and mix this all together. Smells really, really, really good. All right, that is nicely incorporated. Smells phenomenal. I think everyone is going to be really happy with this. So let's get to the next step. Go ahead and spray my baking dish that I am using. This is a 9 by 13. I am using a tomato basil garlic pasta sauce from Walmart, and I need 1/2 cup, and I'm going to put that on the bottom of my baking dish. So now I'm going to go ahead and start stuffing the shells. I am actually going to add some more Parmesan cheese and mozzarella cheese mixture to this because just from seeing how many shells I have that I want to use, it's not going to fill everything that I need. So I'm going to get some more mozzarella cheese in there too. I threw in probably another 1/4 cup of Parmesan shredded, the Parmesan shaker cheese, and probably a good like 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese. And now I'm going to add an extra egg in there just to help combine it all together. I went ahead and washed my hands. I'm going to give this another mix so to incorporate everything together. You know, I thought when I was going over this recipe and picking out the ingredients on my Walmart order, I honestly thought that 12 ounces of ricotta cheese seemed a little less than stuff for stuffing shells. So I need this to be a bigger dish for more people. So nothing wrong with improvising as you go if you need to. The kids are organizing some Easter eggs that I had saved from last year. So they're playing with those right now. It's cute. And my youngest is in one of his little like baby seats. And so yeah, they're all hanging out in the living room doing that right now. It's really cute. And they're watching Boss Baby. That's been the new thing, is watching Boss Baby, because the boys on Boss Baby are like my 2 boys on Boss Baby. So it's really cute. So that's been the big hype lately. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and continue stuffing these. Perfect. All right, now that I have them completely stuffed, I'm gonna take some pasta sauce and just cover it over top. I added more shells to what the actual recipe called, so I'm gonna just go ahead and eye this. It had suggested for a cup of it, but I'm probably gonna use a little bit more. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pour it over top. Oh, there's my little one. Be right back. I am covering the pasta shells to make sure that they are covered in sauce. So when they cook, they're not going to become hard and crunchy. So I just want to make sure that each jumbo shell is covered with some pasta sauce so when it cooks, we don't have crunchy shells. And I am not going to bake this today. So today I am going to put saran wrap on this and then put it in the fridge. And then I will bake it tomorrow. And when I bake it tomorrow, I will put aluminum foil on it. So I'll remove the plastic wrap and get the put aluminum foil on top. And I will bake it with aluminum foil for 25 minutes. And I'll put it in the oven at 375 degrees. And then once it begins to, the sauce starts to bubble, I'm going to go ahead and take the top off and cook it for another 10 to 15 minutes. And then I'll dust it with some Parmesan cheese. So that one's all done. All right, so I'm going to get the saran wrap on it. Nice, that one is all done. And then I'm going to go ahead and clean up a little bit before I start another project because it's getting kind of a little messy in here. So I'll be back in a bit.
The Greek green beans are all done. Just gonna pour it in, set it aside, let it cool down, and then wrap it up, put it in the fridge.
Okay, I got some stuff cleaned up and we're going to go ahead and start making the icing for the chantilly cake. And I'm going to start by making, there's a two-part of this. So we're going to do the heavy whipping cream first, and we're going to beat that on high until we get a nice stiff peak form of the heavy whipping cream. So we need 2 cups.
Pour the 2 cups of heavy whipping cream into the mixing bowl and close the thing and turn it to high speed.
All right, this looks perfect. This looks really good. I'm going to just get this stuff off and set this aside. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the other part of the icing ready. And we're going to use the same attachment so that way, we're going to use the same mixer part. So that way I don't have to wash it up, and it's just going to make it real easy. All right, so I have 2 8-ounce of cream cheese in here. I'm going to get this locked in place. Now we need to add 8 ounces of mascarpone cheese. So we have 2 8 ounces of cream cheese in there already. Let me get something to get that out. Three cups of powdered sugar. Need 3/4 of almond extract. All right, we need 1 1/4 of vanilla, pure vanilla. All right, now we're going to go ahead and mix that up. Okay, now that that is done, we are going to take the heavy whipping cream that we mixed and got it to peak form, and we're going to go ahead and take it and fold it into the cream cheese mixture that we have here. All right, now that I have this all mixed together, we're gonna go ahead and put it in the fridge and let it sit for an hour before I put it on top of the cake. So I'm gonna make the syrup that we are gonna put on the cake. So I have 2 cups of water in here. I'm gonna turn it on to high, and I'm gonna add 3/4 cups of white sugar to it. All right, so we want to bring the sugar to a boil, and then we're going to turn the heat to low, and then we're going to let it sit on the stove for a good 15 to 20 minutes, and we want, or until the mixture begins to thicken. Then we are going to take it from the heat and let it cool down, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and stir it. All right, now we're just going to wait until it comes to a boil. It's starting to boil. Just going to give it a little stir. I got it to a good boil. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to low, and I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes and check on it and see if it's thickened up, and if it needs an additional 5 minutes, then I'll make that judgment call there. Then, while I'm waiting on the syrup to thicken, I'm going to go ahead and start getting some other things ready. I'm going to take this long knife here and cut through my cake very gently, so that way I can have other layers of this cake. It's very spongy and soft. Okay, we have the first layer. Perfect. At the 15-minute mark, I'm going to let it go for another 5 minutes and see if it reduces more. You know, I made this cake a few years ago, and I don't remember it getting thicker like it says in the recipe, because I really don't remember it getting thicker. So anyways, it still tasted great when I did apply this to it. So I'm just going to give it another 5 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it off and just let it cool. So now I have my syrup in this little bottle here, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of drizzle it on.
Now I'm going to place a layer of icing on top of the first layer of cake. Now I am going to place strawberries and blueberries on top of the icing. Now I'm going to repeat some steps and put another cake layer on top. Take the syrup and put it on top as well. And then I'll place more icing and more berries on top. I am now icing my third cake layer. Placing more berries on top. my last cake layer, placing more syrup on top, and then I will ice it as well. And yes, I am actually using a spoon to spread this out on top of the cake. I am now using a knife to spread it out and get a nice smooth top layer. I am globbing the icing on the cake with the silicone spatula, and then I am taking the back side of the knife and smoothing it out as possible as I can. A gallon-sized Ziploc bag, and I took an icing tip and put it in the gallon Ziploc bag and pushed it all the way to the far corner that I'm going to use to pipe it with. And then I put it in a cup to put the icing in the bag so that we had a way to put it in. And then I squeezed it down to the tip where the icing tip is, and I cut a little part of the plastic Ziploc bag so that way the tip could come through, and then that way I could go ahead and make decorative swirls with the icing tip. Using the gallon Ziploc bag is perfect for something to use on hand if you don't have icing bags. And I have tons of different icing tips, so this was perfect just to use a gallon Ziploc bag for. I had a lot of pretty strawberries to use up, and I wasn't quite sure how to do the design for the top, but I just got very creative with it, and I used a lot of the larger strawberries to fan out in this type of design, and then I just took the blueberries and filled them through as like little fillers, and then just piped here and there with the icing, and I think it turned out really nice and festive for Easter and for my son's birthday party. So it was very tasty. This is my second time making this cake with blueberries and strawberries on top. It is very festive. I never got to making the cheesy scalloped potato dish today, so I will work on that tomorrow. The cake took a little longer to decorate it, but that's okay. Thankfully, I got the bigger projects out of the way, like the rolls and decorating the cake. Those would have taken up a lot of time on Sunday for Easter Day. So I will work on the cheesy scalloped potatoes tomorrow. I also need to make the fruit dish as well, so I'll do that tomorrow. Once the cake is done, I will put it in the fridge and it'll be ready for Easter Day. And I will not put saran wrap on it because I don't want to mess it up how I decorated it. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.